Welcome back, guys. I appreciate you being here, and today I'm wearing my hat backwards, and that can only mean one thing, that's that I didn't do my hair, okay? It looks awful, so I'm hiding it under my hat, but we do what we do best in today's video on this channel, and that is looking at UFO videos, explaining them, trying to understand them, potentially debunk them, and I've picked two of the quite recent, both from 2024 videos that have landed on my desk, and I want to explain them to you guys. I want to go through them, but I also want to hear your thoughts, okay? Obviously, I'm going to share my interpretation and thoughts on what they might be and be showing, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section as well. Let's get into the first video, but before we do that, don't forget to smash the like button. I would appreciate that, and the algorithm of YouTube appreciates it as well. So the first clip was recorded February 24th, 2024. Just after midnight in Argentina, and it shows a bunch of lights against the sky. I think it was recorded with night vision. I mean, how would you get otherwise footage like that in the middle of the night? Again, it says 32 minutes after midnight up here. But let's take a look at the footage. It doesn't have any sound, so I'm gonna cue some ominous, mysterious music behind this clip so it feels a bit more mysterious before we explain it and remove all sense of mystery from it. Let's go. So we see a bunch of lights in the sky, appearing, disappearing, glaring up, right? Some of them glow brighter and then they kind of tone down. Look at the one there. Glows up very bright and then kind of loses its brightness until it ultimately completely disappears, right? You see that? So they do disappear there. I saw this video. I couldn't really make much sense of it in the beginning, and I was like, what? That's weird, right? It seems to be over some kind of desert landscape. I think there's like a bunch of buildings down here. It's not like a complete desert, but it's like, it's not the highly densely populated area. So it must have been really, really dark where this guy or this person recorded this. And it is fascinating. First of all, I noticed that all the lights seem to move in a straight line, right? There's no zigzagging, there is no breaking sound barriers or moving against the laws of physics or anything that we sometimes get in these videos. They all move at a steady pace. In fact, they all move at a similar pace, right? It feels like they're all moving at a similar speed. But then as I was watching this, right, I noticed something, and that is that actually there seem to be invisible lines going on here in this footage. And what I mean by that is that over here on the left-hand side, right, like across that line where my mouse is moving now, roughly, all the objects seem to disappear and appear. Okay, so they appear from this invisible line over here, and they disappear into that invisible line as well. Keep an eye on it, right? Like just imagine an invisible line over here on the left. That object just came out of it. This one now just disappears into that line and then disappears completely as it crosses this invisible line. And it's not the only one. Again, and in the middle here seems to be like a zone where they all glare up, where they are all, or most of them, not all, but some of them are like brighter or reach their brightest spot, like kind of here in the middle. Look, this one again. Look at that spot disappearing there as well. So did that one that you see here just underneath. Do you see how that appeared just underneath? Like this appeared right here, and now this one above disappears there. So there seems to be like an invisible line that's going on. And I think that gave me the clue of what we're looking at here. But someone who knows much more about meteorological phenomena than me also pointed it out kindly in the comments underneath, saying this is some dude from SJ. Satellites heading into and coming from the Terminator. And you might think, what? Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, it's not that Terminator. It's a different one. I had to Google it as well. I didn't know what it is. But the Terminator is basically the line that separates day and night, right? So when the sun shines onto the Earth from a certain angle, you get a shadow line, right? Where you still have sun above that line, but the second you go behind that line, there is no sun anymore. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing satellites flying through the sunny part above this so-called Terminator line and then protruding into the Terminator line, and that's why they disappear. It is where the sunlight ends on their solar panels due to Earth's shadow, which is why they all appear and disappear at approximately the same point in the sky, like an invisible line. Well, that's exactly what I described. Well, yep, these are satellites, says Cirque PLC. I'm a pilot and we see this exact thing all the time. Some pilots initially reported them as UFOs, but now it's common knowledge that they are satellites. Sometimes it looks like one may dim out and then come back the other direction, but it's just one satellite dimming as another one comes out at that same convergence point and being illuminated by the sun. Trippy. I wish they were UFOs, but they're just satellites, right? And that explains it. And in fact, to underline this statement by these two guys, I have another video that shows the same thing, and this was shared by nobody else but Jaime Maussan, our all-favorite ufologist, the most trustworthy source when it comes to aerial phenomenon in the universe, probably. And he says, and this is obviously a translation from Spanish, but the translation says, once again, commercial flight pilots have seen mysterious lights in the sky after flying over the Atlantic. Is it a random encounter or perhaps an attempt at contact? Guys, is it an attempt at contact? Let's check out this video and cue the mysterious music. There it is again. Do you feel that? Oh my God, it's so mysterious. So again, looking very, very similar. Clearly filmed from an aircraft, right? Flying over the Atlantic, as he says there. And I mean, it's Jaime Maussan, so take anything he says with a pinch of salt. But again, you can kind of see these lights coming in and out of view, all flying in like a straight line and just protruding in and out of this Terminator line zone that highlights them. So very similar footage. In my mind, that's the same thing. Again, captured from an airplane. The pilot in this other comment said, yeah, we see this stuff all the time. It's pretty common. But despite these explanations being out there and, you know, on the top of this thread on Reddit, for example, it doesn't stop people from thinking it's green space aliens. Okay, it's got to be space aliens. People are commenting underneath. Forgive me for interjecting this observation. I love how he starts with that. Forgive me for interjecting this observation, okay? I'm a very smart person because I use very smart words. And I want to be very polite because smart people often are polite. But this footage resembles some of the observables highlighted in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I just want to put that out there. God help me. He could have just said it reminds me of some of the stuff we've seen in Close Encounter of the Third Kind, right? Like that. No, forgive me for interjecting this observation. Oh no, God, I hate these people. Anyway, I count this one as debunked. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next one. And the next one was filmed over downtown Toledo in Ohio by a wedding photographer. It was shot with a DJI drone, okay, and this guy, I think he was shooting footage for a wedding. Just some footage he can interject, right? We're getting married in Toledo and all that. You have a nice pan over the skyline, and he captured some intriguing footage. And this was recorded on the 12th of October, so it's very, very recent. Cue the mysterious music, okay? Make it all mysterious. And I want you to look at that little light there on the horizon. Keep your eyes on that. Let's go. So we're zooming in. Oh, wait a second. There it is, zooming off into the distance, okay? And you could see in the beginning it didn't move much, right? It seems to move ever so slightly to the left-hand side, and then boom, it shoots off to the right in a straight line. It's interesting, right? Because in the very beginning, it kind of looks like an airplane. You wouldn't even notice it because it seems to move ever so slightly to the left-hand side, like, right? Like an airplane would. It doesn't blink, fair enough, right? But it is there, and it moves very, very slightly, but then it rapidly accelerates to the right-hand side with an incredible speed. And some people have commented and said, well, there should have been a sonic boom. Jesus, don't you know these UFOs, they operate with their own gravity bubble? Don't you know? Haven't you learned anything from Bob Lazar? Okay, so there is obviously no sonic boom because the gravity bubble. We're excited to back up that claim. Yeah, but here's what's interesting, right? What a lot of people pointed out. This is or seems to be a zoomed in version. This is not the original footage. You can see the zoom here in the beginning, right, on the object. And by the way, the guy's name is Shot by Shay. Okay, I'll link his Instagram account down in the description in case you want to book him or whatever for some wedding videos. But he clearly does like a digital zoom here in the beginning, right? This is him editing this in whatever editing software he uses. He zooms into the object to bring it up closer. This is not the original footage. This is a crop, and it's digitally zoomed in. And the pan to the side, following the object, almost keeping it in the center of the screen, also seems to be, you know, digitally altered. That's not the real footage. It wasn't that the camera naturally followed the object. he altered this footage in order to highlight the object. So that's what he pushed out on his Instagram. And people have all kinds of theories of what's going on here. Okay, a lot of people speculate whether the footage has actually been accelerated. Is it just a plane that is flying that route and he just at the push of a button accelerates the footage and then it looks like it's accelerating that fast? But I don't think that is the case. While some of these lights here, right, like these airplane warning lights on the building seems to blink, they blink very rapidly. I would imagine some of them would blink less often, but that's very speculative. If you look at the cars down here on the road and some of the cars in the back here on the bridge, they roughly move at the right pace. Okay, I'm not seeing it and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's clearly been accelerated. I don't think that is the case. The environment and the speed of the cars and everything seems to line up. So I don't think he did that. However, it is not to say, because I mean, keep in mind, this object sits in the sky, right? This is more or less it's a gradient, but more or less a monochrome background. So you could crop this image at this height, theoretically, right? You could crop the film, isolate that, whatever it is, airplane, light in the sky, helicopter, whatever it is, and then just pan that light, like make that light move across the screen without accelerating or moving any of the other elements in the screen. So you could almost cut the screen in half without anyone noticing. However, I don't think that's what's happening here. And I tell you why. Because it pulls behind it this weird trail, right? I'm sure you noticed this, right? You see that? It pulls this trail behind it. And that is an effect you get from lenses, right? If you film in low light conditions, you get this effect quite often. And I want you to look at this car down here on the road. It has the same effect, right? It's not as easy to see because it's against a lighter background. But if you look close enough, you see down here, the car also pulls a similar trail of light behind it. It is just a camera effect. And that kind of tells me that's what it was, okay? Like the camera is trying to keep up with this light and it kind of ingrains itself into the footage and pulls this trail behind it. It doesn't mean that the trail was there in the real world. Let's assume the object was there in the real world. It doesn't mean you would see this trail if you look at it with your eye, but that's how the camera tries to translate that moving image in the low lighting conditions, and that's how you get that trail. So I think it has not been digitally altered. But a lot of people, obviously, because of the pan and the digital zoom, a lot of people are like, well, bro, can you please release the original footage? Okay, we need it's shot with the DJI drone. I'm sure you've got this as like 4K footage and all that. Can we please have the unaltered, unzoomed in version of this? It can't be that big. Please share it with us. Well, at first he didn't. At first he shared a little video that showed us the metadata. And I want to play this video for you guys, okay? Check this out. So here is the original person who recorded this. Again, the name is Shot by Shay Video on Instagram and also on TikTok. But he published this video showing us the metadata, which I appreciate, right? Don't get me wrong. Check this out.
54 on the drone. All right, there's data right there. Yeah, there's all the info. And so I'll open this up. There's the UFO right there. The portion of the clip that was posted online is right here. That's straight from the drone. And to even do you one better.
And I was like, wait a second. We want to see this footage. I mean, it's nice you share the metadata with us, but do you notice how he's like, and here's the film, and the camera kind of shakily films the screen and the footage, and then he quickly closes it again. It's like he doesn't lose any time. I mean, look, he's a video editor, right? He clearly edited the zoom into the footage, cropping it in this like phone screen size and all that. He knows how, I assume he knows how to edit video. So why do you not edit this original video into this clip, right? He's like, here's the metadata and here's the original clip, unfiltered in the original proportions. Check it out. But he doesn't do that. So I was already like, that's odd.
We was at the wedding until right here was the last clip we took that night in the street. And if you look here, we was there till 9:30 something at night. So obviously it was not faked.
What? Okay. I mean, he's responding to someone saying it's fake, right? So he's trying to prove them. It's like, dude, it doesn't really matter how long you were at the wedding. How does that prove anything? I mean, to be honest, the idea that you can't manipulate metadata and that's evidence for anything is kind of laughable, to be honest. You can manipulate it in any shape or form. The only thing we want is the original clip. I appreciate him recording this video and sharing the metadata, but bro, Share it with us. What's going on? So this video we just looked at, he shared 1 day ago, right? So and everyone responded just like me saying, bruv, original clip, please. Can we please have original clip? So it took him another, I don't know, 10, 12 hours until he finally released the original clip. Okay, and here it is. And he kindly, it is so original that it's turned 90 degrees. So I will have to spin my head around. For you guys, I can now spin the footage. Okay, here we go. There we go. Look, perfect on screen. I still have, for me, it's still rotated 90 degrees. But let's look at what's going on here. Okay, so now this is the actual footage on TikTok. And again, I'll link this TikTok account as well down in the description. You can check it out yourself. And it shows the skyline and the drone shot without any zoom, without anything. So keep in mind the light. I think this is the light here. Is this the light there? Let's take a look. Keep an eye on that area. There it is. Right? Now, looking at that, what do we notice? What do we notice looking at this? I mean, there's a few obvious things. Okay, like for example, you're in Toledo, Ohio. I think about 250,000 people live there, and this is the only video, the only witness even, right? It's not even that other people came forward and said, yeah, I saw it too, bro. I was sitting there and I saw this light whizzing across the sky. There are no witnesses. There are no other videos. Also, why would aliens put an extra light on their craft, right? If they fly over a skyline in a city, they're like, make sure the floodlights are on so everyone can see it. We want to be seen, guys. Remember that. It makes no sense. And I know the ufologist and believer excuse is like, no, bro, you don't get it, man. It's because there's crazy amounts of energy around these craft and the bubble of gravity, so that's why it's glowing. You just got to trust me on this, bro. Right. But there's one more thing that, in my opinion, is a dead giveaway of what we're looking at here. And that is that the time of the pan of the DJI drone, like when he starts panning to the right-hand side, perfectly aligns with the object moving, and it also perfectly aligns with the object moving in a straight line just as the camera is moving, right? You see this in the beginning, kind of flies almost forward, right? Gentle movement forward, which would also explain why the light, we saw it in the other video, gently moves forward like a plane in the distance, right? It's not perfectly still because the drone is moving as well. So the movement of this object or light is perfectly aligned with the movement of the camera. And that tells me it's an internal lens flare. It's basically a reflection on the glass of the lens that's been captured, and it happens all the time. It's a pretty common phenomenon. It's just, this is basically an optical illusion that gives you the idea that it looks like there's an object on the horizon that shoots off. But I mean, the gentle flight forward, aligning with the light slightly moving as well forward or to the left, as we've seen in the beginning, right? Gentle movement. And then as soon as the pan starts, the light pans to the side as well. And I think, and again, this is my suspicion, I think that's also why he zoomed in and in the beginning only released the zoomed in footage. Because if you have the digital zoom and then the digital pan, he can say, no, this pan has been, digitally added afterwards. Actually, the object didn't move with the camera at all, when in fact it did. And that's, again, it's me theorizing. He hesitated fairly long to release the full footage because it's pretty clear. If you look at this footage, it's like, yeah, the movement of this object is perfectly aligned with the movement of the camera. It's most probably a lens flare. Okay, but great video nonetheless. I loved it. I'm going to give it a small debunk because I think this one, compared to the first one is clearly satellites, okay? Like, that's what it is. This one, it could be other things as well. It could be extraterrestrials. So I'm giving it a tiny debunk. There it is. There it is. It's adorable. But, that's what it gets. Unless you disagree with me, maybe you have a different take on it. Maybe you think it's space aliens. Maybe Shot by Chevy Video wants to add something to this. If you're watching this video, then please leave your thoughts, any additions down in the comment section below. I'm always curious to hear them, to read them, to get additional information on this footage. But guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown of these two videos. I really like them. I thought they were fun clips. Even you don't see big giant objects, physical objects floating through the sky. Just a bunch of lights. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. And I hope you did too. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, join our Discord, okay? Discord community. Lovely place to meet new people, to hang out, to tell me that you think my videos are garbage and how much you hate me. That can all happen over on our Discord. I would appreciate to meet you there. Until next time, take care of yourselves. And I'm out. Bye.